Namaste and welcome viewers. You're watching Business at 9. I'm Ashish Parekh. Lots lined up on the broadcast. Let's start with our top focus. There was no Friday cheer for the Dalal Street as Nifty slided below 25,800 mark, ending slightly lower for the week. Now, October, however, turned out to be a strong month for Nifty as the index advanced for the second consecutive month, led of course by Shriram Finance and Titan, touching the 26,100 mark for the first time since September 30, 2024. Nifty also in fact recorded its biggest monthly gain since March 2025. Speaking of Nifty mid-cap and small-cap index, they also advanced for the second straight month. My colleague Raminda gets us more on how Dalal Street performed in October.
Well, its Nifty advances for the second consecutive month and crosses its 26,100 mark for the first time since 30th September 2024, which is mainly led by Shriram Finance and Titan, and the index also recorded its biggest monthly gain since March 2025, and BSE listed companies added a market cap of rupees 20 lakh crore in the October month. And if we talk about Nifty mid cap and small cap index, then both Nifty mid cap and small cap index two closes in green, advances for the second consecutive month, and mid cap index also hits its 1 year high during the month, which is mainly driven by the Federal Bank and persistent system. And if we talk about the sector indices, then all major sector indices were closes in green in October month, and Nifty Realty was a top sectoral gainers, which is snapped a 3-month losing streak to post its biggest monthly gain since December 2023, which is mainly led by Brigade Enterprise and Godrej Property. And if we talk about Nifty PSU Bank, the Nifty PSU Bank index touched a record high level in the October month, advancing for the second consecutive month, with Bank of India and Indian Bank were the top gainers from the Nifty PSU Bank index, and all the constituents of the PSU Bank index were closing green. And the IT index also entered a 3-month losing streak, which is mainly led by persistent system and Coforge, and all the constituents of the IT index are also closing green. And Nifty Metal index also hit a record high level this month, advancing for the second consecutive month, which is mainly driven by Welspun Corp and Hindalco Industry. And Nifty Bank also hit a record high level this month, advances for the second consecutive month, which is mainly led by Federal Bank and AU Small Finance Bank. And if we talk about Nifty Pharma Index, the Nifty Pharma Index snapped 2 months losing streak, which is mainly led by Divis Lab and Laurus Lab, and Nifty Auto 2 advances for the third straight month.
And moving on now, India's banking sector is also set for a significant shift as the Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, has introduced a new regulation for derivative eligibility, directly impacting the composition of the Nifty Bank Index. In fact, these changes, scheduled to take effect from December, aim to create more diverse as well as representative index. Now, the National Stock Exchange NSE plans to implement these changes gradually over a period of 4 months during scheduled index reviews. Moving on now, Swiggy saw a steady top-line growth, but losses, of course, declined less than expected. Meanwhile, Eternal's aggressive network expansion and robust cash position also underline its scale advantage, even as both players are showing some solid momentum in quick commerce as well as food delivery markets. What's the picture between the two giants looking like? That's, of course, a big question. Let's go across to my colleague Snehi for more on this.
Well, yes, if you take a look at how Zomato and Swiggy stack up against each other in terms of food delivery and quick commerce, here's a quick take on that. In terms of their Q2 scorecard, mixed set of numbers coming in from Eternal, wherein revenue was a beat versus estimates, EBITDA in line, but PAT and margins were a miss versus estimates. On the flip side, inline revenue growth coming in for Swiggy for the second quarter, but the losses that they've seen in the EBITDA segment and the overall net loss, yes, that has gone down on a sequential basis, but the street would have expected these losses or would have estimated these losses to go down slightly further than they have. In terms of their overall financials, for Eternal, the revenue growth was 89.6% sequentially, whereas for Swiggy it was only 12.1%. If you take a look at the GOV and NOV metrics by which their food delivery and quick commerce businesses are gauged, let's talk about NOV for Eternal and GOV for Swiggy. So Eternal's NOV was up 15% year on year. For Swiggy, GOV was up 12.7%. The food delivery NOV of Eternal was up 14%. GOV up for Swiggy at 5.6%. If you take a look at the quick commerce NOV for Blinkit that was up 27%, and for Instamart 24.2%, so not too far behind. Quick commerce average order value, that surprises us quite positively this time in favor of Swiggy, because for Blinkit this number was at 693 rupees per order. For Instamart it's coming at 697 rupees per order. In terms of dark store addition and the pace at which they're growing, Eternal continues to do that faster. Total number of Eternal dark stores at 1,816, with 272 stores added in the quarter gone by. Same metric, 1,102 dark stores for Swiggy, with about only 40 stores added in the quarter gone by. If you take a look at their monthly transacting users for food delivery and quick commerce, Eternal continues to lead across both of those segments. Lastly, in terms of cash balance, Eternal sits at a very healthy cash balance of 18,314 crores after, of course, the fundraising they undertook last year. Swiggy's cash book as of now is at 4,605 crores. What's important to bear in mind is that Swiggy has also announced a fundraising via QIP on the 7th of November, wherein they'll be mulling a QIP worth 10,000 crore rupees, and they've also indicated that the sale of the proceed of the sale from Rapido's stake sale will come to them in Q3, so that could also be a one-time cash boost that they see. So the cash book will start to look more attractive for Swiggy in comparison to Eternal as well. But overall, Eternal continues to grow faster than Swiggy and continues to do better also in the quarter one.
So, of course, the big question is which of these stocks is poised for a better return. Karan Taurani of Elara Security now says that he prefers Eternal over Swiggy since it looks better placed across all parameters. Take a look.
In terms of Zomato versus Swiggy, we believe that there's no reason to go extra bullish on Swiggy, okay, because the numbers obviously were slightly better in terms of the growth on the food GOV side, and even in terms of the losses, even in terms of quick commerce, there was a minor convergence in terms of losses. But there's no reason in terms of why do we see the valuation multiple converging versus Eternal. So I think Swiggy will remain to be a preferred pick. But it will piggyback Eternal in terms of share price performance. So in terms of weightage, what we do is that we still have a weightage of 70-30, with Eternal being a preferred pick and lower weightage on Swiggy. I think what will drive the valuation multiples lower versus Eternal rather, or the market cap discount overall basis, how can that converge? There are 2-3 drivers there. One is I think Swiggy has to expand aggressively, grow aggressively, and reduce losses, which is not happening. So this quarter, if you look at the numbers, there is a minor convergence in terms of the EBITDA losses in the QCom business. But the growth rates don't seem to be compelling in the near term because they've clearly guided for a lower store addition. Whereas in the case of Blinkit, they are adding stores aggressively and still kind of reducing losses to a certain extent. So that gives the leeway to Blinkit.
In fact, shifting our focus to Maruti now, which has reported overall healthy set of numbers. Revenue has risen over 13% compared to last year to 42,100 crore. This is, of course, in line with estimates. Meanwhile, PAT has come in at 3,293 crore, which is 7% higher than last year. But again, it's failed to meet expectations. Meanwhile, Chairman R.C. Bhargava has expressed some sort of an optimism for second half of the year. This is on the back of GST reforms. My colleague Srishti gets us more with all the numbers and, of course, what to expect.
Weak set of numbers coming in from Maruti Suzuki, and especially a miss on the margins is what we are getting to see. 10.5% is what the company has reported. That's in line to what we were expecting, but profitability-wise, there has been a miss. We have been flagging off the fact that yes, of course, there has been a minor gain in terms of the volumes, but because of the fact that the company has spent a lot on the advertising this time around, and along with that, there has been higher discounts that were offered by the company in the smaller car segment, and that product mix overall is likely to impact the numbers, and that's exactly what we are getting to see on Maruti Suzuki numbers at this point in time. There has been a miss with respect to the profit figure. Profits come in at 3,293 crores versus our expectation of close to 3,500 crores. Other than that, in terms of the revenue, 42,101 is what the company has reported. That is in line what we were expecting at ET now, but operationally doesn't seem to be that great a quarter. So all in all, Maruti Suzuki on the back of the margin miss, and yes, of course, their margin has seen a bit of a decline. We are getting to see that Maruti Suzuki is down almost 1%. We are looking for more finer details, and we'll get back to you.
Further long-term projections, we are in the area of finalizing them, but the production and the sale projections for 2031 are bound to undergo some changes because of this GST. And I think government will see that lowering tax rates does do a substantial amount of good in respect of production increase, in terms of people getting higher or more convenient means of transport, and actually ultimately in raising the tax collections of government also. The second quarter in terms of sale volumes is going to be significantly different from what it was in the second half I'm talking about. Our exports particularly, I think, deserve mention. Maruti is by far the largest exporter of cars from India now. We will cross 400,000 cars this year. We have already crossed 200,000 cars in the first half. We have started exporting the first e-car which we produced. It's already been exported. We have exports going to all parts of the world. And this export business is going to be a major part of our business. And it's actually contributing significantly to the profitability of the company.
Well, clearly, Maruti Suzuki management there very optimistic about the sales in the second half, but it's that time of the month where we also take a stock of how auto companies have performed. In fact, the industry saw an uptick in demand in October following the recent GST cuts, with stronger momentum across passenger vehicles as well as commercial vehicles. My colleague Srishti gets us some more details on what really went down this October and also on what to expect.
Well, October month marks the first full month wherein the GST rate rationalization benefit will kick in, and along with that we have also seen that festive cheer all throughout the month with some auspicious days as well. All of that is expected to reflect into the numbers. Firstly, let's tell you the broader expectation from the passenger vehicle space. It's a low to single digit growth that we are expecting. Commercial vehicle is expected to see a slight decline on a YoY basis, while the two-wheeler sales is expected to be just flat. Well, of course, there will be some outliers amongst the segment as well, but with respect to the festive timing, the tractor division is expected to see a bit of a decline. Mid to single digit decline is what we are anticipating. But yes, if we look at the wholesales data, but along with that, if we also look at the Vahan data, the picture is quite very rosy. Let's take you through the numbers. Firstly, from the passenger vehicle side, with respect to Tata Motors, herein we are expecting an 8% jump on their passenger vehicle sales, while if you see the Vahan data, that is quite very high versus the wholesales data this time around. Maruti Suzuki, similar picture over there, a 4% jump on a YY basis is what we are expecting, while for M&M a 7% uptick is what we are expecting in their passenger vehicle space. Along with that, Hyundai Motors is expected to post a sales number of 70,000 units. Let's talk about the commercial vehicle segment then. Herein we are getting to see that on a YY basis there is expected to see just a mild growth, while on a month-on-month basis there could be a 15% decline from the numbers for Ashok Leyland. Tata Motors commercial vehicle division is expected to post a number of close to 35,000 crores, while VECV a 2% decline. Two-wheeler segment, herein Eicher Motors Royal Enfield could do really very well despite the fact that there has been no GST benefits. The sales have been very robust. Similar is the case for TVS, Hero MotoCorp and even Bajaj Auto. Quite very robust numbers is what we are getting to see. And lastly, from the tractor division, because of the mismatch with respect to the festive timings, and well, of course, the focus was on the consumer facing segments like passenger vehicle and two-wheeler space, the tractor division is expected to show a bit of a decline. But nevertheless, the wholesales data is showing a good picture, but the Vahan retail sales data is showing way higher numbers versus what the wholesale picture is telling. Back to you.
And some good news that's coming in from the auto sector. Ford is now back in Tamil Nadu. The American auto major has confirmed its plans to manufacture the next generation engines at its now defunct Chennai plant, a move that, of course, cements India's role in Ford's global supply chain. Now, this announcement follows a memorandum of understanding between Ford and the Tamil Nadu government, building on last year's letter of intent. Now, Jeff Merentic, who's, of course, the president of Ford International Markets Group, said, and I quote, "We are pleased to advance our plans and also confirm the Chennai plant's vital role in Ford's manufacturing network. This decision reinforces our commitment to leveraging India's manufacturing prowess for for our future products. Now, with an investment of over 3,200 crore rupees, the Chennai plant will also target an annual capacity of 2.35 lakh engines. This, of course, was based on a statement from Ford, which added that the restart of operations will also create over 600 direct jobs once the production begins in 2029. Now, Tamil Nadu Industries Minister TRB Raja has also hailed the decision of Ford and said that the decision taken by the company is not just the restart of manufacturing, but also a step towards the future of the automotive industry, particularly in the state of Tamil Nadu. Even after exiting car sales in India, if you remember, Ford continues to employ over 12,000 people in its global business operations based in Tamil Nadu. And of course, as we continue to get you everything that happens in the auto sector, ahead of the next union budget, CII President Rajiv Memani held a meeting with the Revenue Secretary, and my colleague Prakash caught up with him to understand what were the recommendations made in the meeting. Listen in.
What I would say is, what are the principles we looked at? I think a lot of it was around simplification, around ease of doing business, around dispute resolution, and there are some issues, particularly in some areas which are constantly irritants for companies who are looking at doing investments, doing acquisitions. We addressed on that, and some issues around equity on how they could be addressed. So whether it was on input tax credit or on share buybacks and everything. So we talked a little bit about that. And how do you encourage more and more encouragement to domestic manufacturing? And whether it is through sectoral policies, whether it's through how should the customs duty structure how should we have graded customs duty between raw materials, intermediates and finished goods. So those are some of the recommendations that were made.
Any specific recommendations with regard to buyback taxation structure?
No, we made the government announced made the changes on the buyback tax. We've given our suggestions to the government to say, in our view, maybe it should be dealt in a slightly different way.
The last question on tariff-related issues. We are facing a lot of challenges from external sector, especially related to tariffs. So any specific suggestions that you made to the government to mitigate the risk at this point in time?
No, we didn't have any specific suggestions to deal with tariffs. I think the government has already created enough economic buoyancy by reducing the GST rates, giving the fillip. The macroeconomic fundamentals are in good place. Inflation is under control. So there is enough economic momentum. So I don't think we need to be overworked around the tariff issues. Yes, there are some specific sectors that have got impacted because of tariffs. Those specific sectors and sector-related suggestions, we have made it to those respective ministries that relate to those sectors, and I think that will come through. I think what we have said is that India needs to create more domestic value addition. There are, more domestic manufacturing, and some suggestions to say how can you make manufacturing more competitive in India.
All right, with that, it's time for a short break. Lots more lined up on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers. This is Business at 9. The NDA today released its manifesto for the Bihar Assembly polls, promising jobs to 1 crore youth, making promises of 1 crore Lakpati Didis as well. In fact, the promises also included metro train services in 4 cities and 7 international airports in the state, among many other promises. The manifesto was released at a press conference attended by Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, Deputy CM Samrat Chaudhary, BJP President JP Nadda, Union Ministers Dharmendra Pradhan, Jitendra Manjhi, Chirag Paswan, and leaders of course, the other alliance partners of the BJP. And moving on now, Times Group editor Navika Kumar had an exclusive conversation with Imran Hashmi and Yami Gautam on their experience and views on the film Haq. Let's listen.
और सारन की धरती पर
वो रही हैं उनकी न्यूज़ और उनकी शख्सियत पब्लिक डोमेन में वी डोंट नो एनीथिंग अबाउट हर एक हमारे पास एक इमेज भी नहीं है उनकी तो मैंने सिर्फ रिवर्स में सोचा कि मैं खुश तो मैं ऑफ कोर्स मैं बहुत हुई आई वाज रियली एक्साइटेड द एक्टर इन न्यूज़ थिंकिंग अ थाउजेंड थिंग्स एट दैट टाइम कि अच्छा मैं इसको ऐसे पोर्ट्रे कर सकती हूँ हम ये कर सकते हैं वो बट आई वाज लाइक होल्ड ऑन जितना मुझे समझ में आया है उनका सोशल बैकग्राउंड रहा है व्हाट काइंड ऑफ पर्सन व्हाट काइंड ऑफ वुमन वो कैसी महिला होंगी जिनमें इतनी हिम्मत होगी वो एंड तक जाने की जहां पर वो गई सो आई वर्क बैकवर्ड्स व्हाट सो व्हाट, क्या कितनी करेज होगी, आप में कितनी हिम्मत होगी कि कितना कुछ उन्होंने सहा होगा उस टाइम में. 1980s की बात करें, आज आपके पास you're an accomplished person, you're one of the most looked up women in the country and doing so well for yourself. We belong to another industry where all of us have mics, we can express ourselves. We're talking about back in 1980s, जहाँ पर ये कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट, ये सब मुझे नहीं लगता ये टर्म्स आप इतने ओपनली नहीं थे. तो कितनी हिम्मत चाहिए एक ऐसी औरत को ये करने के लिए. सो ऑल आई हैड टू डू वाज काइंड ऑफ जस्ट, हर टेक से पहले चाहे हंसने का ही सीन क्यों ना होता था, मैं जरूर आंखें बंद करके वही इमेज जो मैंने देखी थी बचपन में, मैं जरूर अपने जहन में लाती थी. Just to remember that who I'm actually representing, not just one woman, but so many of us from different status, अलग religion हो, आपका कोई भी हो, किस भी एज की हो, at some level.
पर आप एक वुमन की जो वो स्ट्रगल, जो चैलेंज उसका था, एब्सोल्युटली. बट इमरान हाशमी, आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी, आपने बहुत से रोल्स किए हैं. you've done the romantic hero, you've done some grey shades, आपने नेगेटिव रोल्स भी कुछ किए हैं. ऑफ कोर्स इंटीमेसी कंसल्टेंट भी आप रह चुके हैं. उसके बाद एक ऐसा रोल जिसमें आप एंटी हीरो होंगे, क्योंकि आप एक महिला का हक मार रहे हैं. आपने दूसरी शादी की और पहली बीवी को आप उसका हक नहीं देना चाहते. और ऐसा नहीं है कि आपके पास है नहीं पैसा देने के लिए, आपके पास है, आपके बच्चे हैं. और आप एक जमाने में शायद जब शादी हुई थी तो उस लड़की से प्यार भी बहुत करते थे, लेकिन उसके बाद भी आप उसको उसका हक, उसका मेंटेनेंस नहीं देना चाहते. ये करना, और यू योरसेल्फ आर अ मुस्लिम, डिड इट प्ले ऑन योर माइंड? आपके जहन में ये था कि मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी मुझे कैसे देखेगी अगर मैं ये रोल करूंगा जहां एक औरत जीतती है वो केस?
वेल, आई थिंक इस सवाल का जवाब पहले तो मैं ये देना चाहूंगा कि एक लेंस है जिससे मैं इस फिल्म को देखता हूं, एंड दैट इज माय लेंस ऑफ अ लिबरल मुस्लिम, अ सेक्युलर इंडियन. मेरी फैमिली में मेरी शादी एक हिंदू लड़की से हुई 20 साल पहले, परवीन. हमारे घर में एक मंदिर भी है. हमारे बेटे जो हैं पूजा पढ़ते हैं और नमाज भी पढ़ते हैं. माई मॉम वॉज अ क्रिश्चियन. तो एक मेरी जो माइंडसेट है, इट्स वेरी लिबरल एंड सेक्युलर. तो मेरी लेंस जो मैं इस फिल्म को देख रहा था, आई थिंक इट वॉज एक्सट्रीमली न्यूट्रल. और आई एम फर्स्ट फेमिनिस्ट. जिस तरह मैं एक फिल्म, इस तरह की फिल्म जहां पे व्हाई शुड अ फिल्म ऑलवेज बी अबाउट the hero's journey or the redemption or the hero's courage? I think eventually male artists should also facilitate एक ऐसी कहानी, एक ऐसा आर्क जहां पे a woman gets her place in the sun. I think इस जहां तक के अहमद खान का कैरेक्टर, अब्बास खान फिल्म में, मैं कहूंगा कि ये एक ऐसा आदमी है जो अपने खुद के हक के लिए लड़ रहा है. इसकी एक थॉट प्रोसेस है, अपनी कम्युनिटी को लेकर, अपने ट्रेडिशन को लेकर, एक परसेप्शन है अपने पर्सनल फेथ का. और विदाउट गेटिंग टू डिटेल इनटू दिस बिकॉज इट कैन गेट मर्की, तो एक कन्वीनियंस भी होती है जहां पे आप टिल्ट देते हैं, बिकॉज एक मेल राइटियसनेस भी होती है. in a patriarchal society, we hide behind that tradition and righteousness.
ऐसा होता चला
आ रहा था और इसलिए हम ऐसा कर रहे हैं. And it is that righteous stand that many men take in our society, and it's not just about one community. This can go across the board in all communities through generations.
आपकी बेगम आपके ऊपर केस कर रही है.
मेरा ही महर की रकम, अब आज से हमारा कोई रिश्ता नहीं है. तलाक.
एक सांस में 3 बार तलाक लेना कैसे सही हो सकता है सर?
मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ और सेकुलर लॉ को आप एक दूसरे के खिलाफ खड़ा कर रही हैं.
जब एक औरत पे हर कानून, हर सजा लागू होती है तो मर्द क्यों बचता रहे?
तुमने न सिर्फ कौम के साथ गद्दारी की है बल्कि काफिरों का साथ दिया है.
What a brilliant story that, of course, deserves attention on the national stage. On that note, viewers, it's a wrap on this edition of Business at 9. Lots more lineup on the other side. Thank you.